So there are there are a lot more weapons than there are maps, so I'll try and be really quick with these ones. I believe the ACR is B tier. It doesn't have as much damage as the other assault rifles, but it is pretty accurate. The AK-15 I don't think I have a kill with yet, or maybe have one kill, so that's one of the guns that I will be using in the next playtest to test out. So anything that I haven't used, I'll mainly put it in the C section as well. The AK-74, one of the early guns and one of the best guns in the game. Such high damage, and once you get used to the recoil, it's very manageable. I remember that the first AK footage I put up, I titled it AK-47, just because my dumb brain just saw 7 and 4 and went, oh, it's AK-47, oh. And I believe other people have done that as well. And I was corrected. I'll try and put a link in the description if I find the video. But yeah, really solid gun all around. You unlock it fairly early on, I believe. So yeah, high damage, good range, and controllable. Up next we have the AS Val. I'm putting this in the A. I know a lot of people would probably put it in the S. I've only used it maybe twice, 3 times. I remember the first time I used it, I went, this thing has so much recoil in comparison to the other guns I was using, so I just put it on the bench, and I need to get back to it. Up next we have the AUG. The AUG was the first unlock, which I was just like, okay, yeah, let's use the AUG. I'm always a big fan of the AUG. Thought it was really good at the start when I started playing BattleBit, and I tried to use it in the last playtest I was in, and whew, I could not use it. The fire rate was so slow. Yes, it is very accurate, but the fire rate on it was just left me hanging in so many situations. I think these two weapons are similar in my head, so let's just leave them in. Actually, we'll drop them down to the C list. I think people would say, oh, B's too high. Okay, useless, we'll put in guns I haven't used, sorry. Desert Eagle, that is actually useless. I'd suggest something else over the Desert Eagle. When you unlock it, you're like, oh yeah, the Deagle, Pog. And then it's, yeah, not as impressive as you think. The FAL, I think, is a decent weapon. Good fire rate, good damage, pretty accurate. Another gun I have to come back to. Used it for a little bit and thought, yeah, this is fine, but then switched off of it. FAMAS. The FAMAS, I need a hip fire and just hip fire only until I get a red dot sight. I cannot stand the iron sights on this weapon. So I used it for maybe 5 minutes of a match and put it down instantly. G36C. When you see this gun, I don't know about you guys, I just think of Modern Warfare, as in Call of Duty 4. The gun just, I don't know, resonates with me for that. Also a gun I've hardly used. I know it's pretty accurate, but I don't think the damage was there. GLOCK is an A tier sidearm, very high fire rate and very fun to use to pull out and blicky people. Yeah, you can pick up double kills and stuff with it. There's enough of a magazine to be able to do that, which is nice. The GROZA, probably, I don't know about S tier, maybe go high A. Really fun weapon, sounds a lot different from the other ones. GROZA resonates as well from PUBG for me. At the start of PUBG, the GROZA was one of those rare weapons that you could only get in supply drops. I know, completely different game. What does that have to do with BattleBit? GROZA still does high damage in this game, sounds really cool, and yeah, for me, just a fun gun to use. Good at range, good at close. Yeah. Up next, the HK419 was one of the more later weapons to be put into the game, and one that slaps the shit out of everything. It just has all-round performance. You can take this up close, take this at range. Really good damage, really good fire rate. Just all-round amazing weapon. When you unlock the HK, I really recommend using it. You really can't complain about anything to do with that gun. Up next, we have the Honey Badger. Honey Badger, I was late to the party with when I unlocked it, like the AS Val. I went, this is not good. On the last 2 playtests, I've did a fair amount of game time with it, and yeah, really enjoyed it. There is so many weapons and so much that I want to use again and try out again, just because we're so limited in time with the playtest that I can't play everything, but I did put in a fair bit of time with the Honey Badger to get my head around it, and yeah, really enjoyed playing with it, so definitely an A tier weapon. L86A1, let's just chuck that in B. I think it's decent, but we do need more LMGs to compare it with, really, because there's only one other gun you can compare it with, so. But I've only used it a little bit, and what I used, I thought it was fine. Actually, let's just put in C. I'd need more time with it. L96 was the default sniper rifle, I believe. I think it's pretty good to start off sniping. M110, also tried to use a bit. Probably my favorite marksman rifle out of the bunch. Once again, need to use them a bit more, and maybe that's something I'll look into the next playtest, actually using a bunch of marksman rifles and seeing which one my favorite is, but right now it is the M110. The GOAT sniper rifle, the M200 definitely gets the S tier, being the highest damage and high velocity. You can snipe way across the map with ease with this thing. It is just crazy. And yeah, really reminds me of the intervention of Modern Warfare 2, which was a fan favorite of that time. So the M200 definitely sits in the S. The M249, let's put it in the B tier. Probably, yeah, there. High magazine, decent damage, and I think they still need to do some work with bipods and all that jazz to make it a bit more effective. M4A1, as a starting weapon, you think this is, you know, switch off pretty much as soon as you unlock something. I recently went back to it for the first time in a while, and it slaps. Accuracy is so easy to control. It's so good. High damage, and it's just such a good all-around weapon, pretty much like the HK. When I went back to it, I'm like, oh wait, this gun is actually really good. So M4 is part of my go-to weapons now for assault rifles. The M9 can't really give you much. MK14 EBR, I believe it is average in comparison to the M110. M11 has just better handling, recoil, and, you know, does about the same damage, but we'll look into the EBR later on. MK20, same thing again. I think I picked it up for 5 minutes. Has, I believe, the most damage out of the marksman rifles, but still requires 2 shots to kill, I'm pretty sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, more time with these bad boys. MP, can't say. MP5 is pretty... not a good time using the MP5, even though that is a classic weapon across multiple video games. But yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. MP7 I think is a bit better for a submachine gun class. Really fast to run around with, decent fire rate, decent clip size and everything for average SMG. MSR I've used for about 5 minutes as well. Seemed decent as one of the more later sniper rifles to be released. The P90 definitely goes in the A tier with a high mag and yeah, really fast to run around with, decent fire rate, and you can mow down heaps of enemies with it. Really good, really fun. Up next we have the PP19, which will have some mixed comments about me putting it in B, most likely. It is really, really accurate. This thing is a laser beam of a gun, but it has the damage drop off, and it is an SMG, so it's not going to be doing as much damage as an assault rifle, but it is so accurate, it's crazy. Next we have the PP2000, definitely S tier. Let's move on. The REM700, haven't used. I've been killed by it a few times, so I believe it is a good sniper, but I just haven't used it. I'll put, hold on, the things that I haven't used up here, and the useless can be at the bottom. UNICA, the best sidearm for sure. So many times where you'll put 1 or 2 bullets with your primary weapon into someone, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm out of ammo. Switch to the UNICA, pop, once, and they drop. And it's just such a good cleanup tool. So definitely equip the UNICA as your sidearm or the GLOCK, depending if you want single shot high damage or lots of fire rate with low damage. The SCAR H, I have mixed feelings about. Very high damage, but the accuracy, it's not even the control's pretty easy to handle, but you can see your bullets flying to the left and to the right of the weapon when you're firing, but it can sweep teams very easily. Does suffer from the short magazine size though. The SG550 I think also goes in the B, very similar to the PP19 with accuracy wise. The SG has a very big muzzle flash and not as much damage as something like the M4 or the HK. The SSG I just haven't used. The SV98 also haven't used. The SVD I've tried with a red dot sight to try something different. It seems to be working okay. I just need to unlock a few more attachments I think for the gun and figure something out with it. It does have potential. Might move it up here. The UMP or the UMP45, I think that's also a B tier. Or it might be an A tier. I've only used it a handful of times. Short mag, but decent damage. and decent stats for a SMG, really. Yeah, I can't really say much about the AMP. I just have hardly used it, but when I have, it's been decent, but not outstanding. The USP, can't say. I can't even tell you which one of these 3 pistols you start with. I think it's the MP, but don't quote me. Or let me know in the comments so then I can feel like a dickhead. And last but not least, we have the KRISS Vector, which I unlocked the gun and I used it for 5 minutes and I put it down and went, ugh. Like and then I picked it back up and it's been my go-to weapon pretty much any playtest. If I'm starting to have a bad game, whip out the KRISS Vector, start going positive straight away again. It is crazy. Run it with extended mags, just spray everyone down. High movement speed, one of the highest fire rates in the game. Pretty accurate and easy to control the recoil, and you can just spray enemies down with it. So fun to use. Highly recommend trying out the KRISS Vector, and yeah, very easily deserves the S tier. So that's pretty much it. Oh wait, I'll just move this back down to So with the PP2000, whipped it out one game, I went, oh, I haven't used this gun. Smashed the shit out of everyone in that game. I believe I'll upload the gameplay maybe as my next video. Well, now we have to see if my words live up to the expectations of smashing everyone. And then I tried to use it with attachments the next game, got my ass absolutely handed to me. So I'm like, ew, what the hell happened? So I don't know if it was a no attachment, one game fluke, or yeah, so we'll just put it in the bottom of B tier now and we'll get back to it. But back to the GOAT weapons of the game. Definitely try out the SCAR, have the GLOCK as a sidearm, try out the Val, Honey Badger, P90 and GROZA. I think they're all decent weapons and should be given a shot. And then definitely have the UNICA equipped if you're a good aim and good shot. AK-74 and M4A1, really easy to start off the game with. You're not put in a position of having a weak gun at the start of the game, so either weapon, go nuts with. They'll both reward you with high kills. M200, just the GOAT sniper. Need I say more? HK419, definitely give this a try out when you unlock it. I know it is a little bit later on in the unlocks, but really fun to use. Yeah, KRISS Vector, if you want to run around like a dickhead like me, go nuts. Really fun time with it. That will be it for this video. I know it's going to be a bit of a long one, even though I said it will be shorter. If you have any thoughts or something that you think should go in a different spot, please let me know. Or if you think I should try out a weapon or give a weapon another shot, or yeah, please let me know. I'm always interested in trying off-meta stuff. Always love trying every weapon, trying out new ways to play. I think it does keep the game fresh when you try new things. There are a lot of weapons and a lot of time to play with them, so well, not much, a lot of time to play with them because the game to release. Anyway, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I'd love to make a conversation out of this. I reply to every single comment and yeah, get your feedback. I'll stop rambling. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more BattleBit content coming out. And yeah, hope you have a good one.